Thanks for joining us for our Chamber Connection podcast. Thanks to our friends at Speakeasy, we are here for the next 52 weeks, bringing you guests from around our community, elected officials, business owners, folks doing great work here in Macomb County. So sit back, take a listen, and we hope you'll join us every week for our Chamber Connection. Hi, I'm Stacey Ziarko, President and CEO of the Sterling Heights Regional Chamber of Commerce. I'm here today for our next weekly podcast series, and I've got some special guests with me, some very good friends of mine today. Tom Whitaker, Program and Events Manager for the Chamber. Thanks, Tom.
Back again. I got my second invite to the podcast.
Again. You warmed up the first time. You got that microphone ready to go, huh?
Feels good. I'll be excited to see how you've done. You've done so many of these now, so we're gonna chart the growth.
Are you gonna grade me when this is over?
No, not grade you.
And also, we have Marissa Russo, who is the chair of our Young Professionals Organization. Marissa, thanks for being a first-timer today.
I'm very excited.
Marissa is also the digital content coordinator for the city of Sterling Heights, so a great partner to have on our team. We've talked a lot about things that the Chamber has done differently over the last year, programs that we've grown and developed, and one that kind of had a little problem during the pandemic was our Young Professionals Organization. I think we can all agree that, people in our young professionals and professional and workforce were working from home, maybe taking care of kids, maybe doing job changes, trying to figure out how to work remote and build home office, and kind of networking was not the priority at those times. And I think one of the things that we are looking to do in 2022, I think Tom and Marissa will agree with me, is that we are looking to really hit this demographic hard and really engage with them in a lot of meaningful events. Tom, tell us a little bit about what our Metro Detroit Young Professionals Organization is.
Yeah, so like you mentioned, it was a really robust program pre-pandemic, and it just didn't, a lot of our things were able to translate to Zoom. This just wasn't one of them. So we kind of dabbled in trying to get it going again in kind of the summer of 21, but I think it needed what we've given it, and that's a full, complete rebrand and relaunch. We've got Marissa is going to dive in, and you're going to be our new chair, kind of help leading it. But really, it's what it is. It's the Young Professional Networking Group. So we just want to connect people early in their careers to other people who are kind of going through those same challenges and struggles. So you don't have to think that I've got to learn all of this by myself. You've got other people in your area, your peers, who are going through the same things and can absolutely be a good resource for you to tap into and help grow your career. Not that the older connections that you'll make, right, like mentors, not that those aren't valuable, but sometimes it's just really important to kind of level with somebody who's right where you are in your career. And you can kind of I'm going through that too. I understand that as well. So we've launched a Facebook group, just constantly trying to add members to that, where we can have, lots of helpful content and, of course, some occasional memes. And then just our mixers and our events. And, it's going to be good moving forward this year. We were expecting about 20 registrations for our first winter mixer that we had, and we blew that out of the water. Double the registrations with really not a ton of effort.
Helps when it's at a brewery.
Yeah, it helps when it's at a brewery. Thank you.
Free.
Thank you, Brown Iron. But yeah, great response. So we're happy that we've got this collection of people who are going to start getting connected, and just that's why we've got Marissa now. Is going to help us plan some really fun stuff and, really tap into the important elements of this group.
Well, and, Marissa, we're glad to have you as the chair of this program. Tom and I kind of tag teamed, asking you to do this last summer, and took some time. We really took some concerted effort to make sure we were making valuable programming. What made the young professionals, why was this important for you personally to even get involved with too?
Yeah, I remember reaching out to you guys and asking, what's happening with Yo Pros? How can I get involved? Kind of thinking it was already established, but I want to start attending events. You guys kind of did address concerns that it kind of fizzled during the pandemic. And I think that after a full year of just quarantining and working in an office remotely with some coworkers and just not having any connections, I was feeling how can I get back out in the community? Is Yo Pros an option for me? I never was one for networking. I didn't see not necessarily the importance, but I think also just kind of shy and felt what's my place in networking? What am I looking for? Very happy with my current role and my job. So what's the point of that? So definitely was just looking for other connections. I work in community relations, so I'm out in the community. I'm constantly looking for new opportunities for our residents to be a resource. So trying to make those connections seemed like an important component to my own job. So, how can I do that and connect with other professionals in the community? And YoPro seemed like the perfect opportunity. So for me personally, it was to just kind of get myself out into the community, hopefully meet some friends. During the pandemic, you kind of had a lot of friends who had moved away, or, coworkers are, again, working remotely. So you're losing connections, and just kind of wanting to get out there.
It's a good thing you found Tom and I first, so that all your new friends don't, we're going to take a back seat.
Just want to meet new friends.
So I think too is like you talked a little about being out in the community and like so many changes that happen to people. And, I think we talked that our first event was a mixer, really bridging that like social gathering part, bringing everyone together. What are some other programming that you two have planned for the next year?
Well, I know there's stuff I would like to see. And there's,
Bring it on.
there's kind of pipe dream stuff, and then there's stuff that's concrete. We're definitely going to do. We had our winter mixer, and I, foresee doing quarterly mixers, and they're always going to be somewhere. No disrespect to the tire store, it's not going to be at a tire store. They're all going to be in kind of fun, exciting, engaging places. Where
we might be here in our podcast studio showing people how it works.
This would be a great place for it,
Very cool.
But we're looking to do those mixers. Obviously, just get people together. That's kind of really at the root of this, is just getting people together and familiarizing yourself with others in the YoPro community. Kind of like at our winter mixer, we used, a lot of times when we have our networking events, we just kind of throw everybody in and do your thing. With our YoPros, we're kind of making it a little bit more engaging. So we put together the kind of scavenger hunt. So everybody got a piece of paper when they walked in, and you're looking for somebody who owns a pet, somebody born outside the state. And it kind of just forces you to go around, meet people, and you start organic conversations, which then can kind of build into business and professional conversations. But I definitely want to see the mixers. And then there's some pipe dream stuff. I heard in the past they used to do a lot of stuff at Blake's, with kind of tours of the facility and tastings. I'd love to do something kind of bigger and grander, in some of our other, chamber, community members here.
The Blake's event was actually my first event in my role at the chamber. And so what was cool about that is that if you're not familiar with Blake's Orchards, their president and CEO is a young professional. I think now he's like 32 years old. And so he took over a family business and not only made it made it bigger and better. And so he was a great example of what a young professional can do. And we toured the facility and saw how the apple cider was made, and really just a great opportunity to engage, but also provide some educational content too.
Right. I think, on top of the mixers, like I said, I'm hoping to make connections and, make friends. And that will be done at mixers to kind of make, meet people. But having that opportunity to learn from people. I mean, I think once you graduate college, you don't often know how to expand your skills and where to learn. And to sit on webinars constantly, you're not fully focused on that. So to have like those in-person interactions of how other people are doing it and just being a part of that is really important, I think, for young professionals.
One of the things that we had an event a couple weeks ago for our small businesses, and our keynote speaker made a comment that, remote work is really convenient and it's wonderful. How does it impact people from a professional development standpoint? Are they the people that, are they being considered for promotions? They might be doing the work, but if they're not present all the time. And so I hope that some of this conversation can be helpful for all of us on a professional development, how to elevate ourselves, get us to whatever that next level is, even if it's just within your own organization.
Right.
Conversations around the water cooler are important
Absolutely.
to your professional career. If you're just at home just doing the work, but really nobody knows you, then when that promotion comes up, you're probably you might not be thought of. So a lot of the times it is just if your interactions within the office and being a good team player and commingling with all your coworkers, those things are all extremely important in getting your career to the next level. And you can't really do that at home. It's tough to do through Zoom.
Yeah. And I think that, there are going to be a ton of people who continue to do remote work, maybe even expanding some type of knowledgeable like resources for how you can continue to, be in the forefront at your office. Those are opportunities that we can always continue to seek for events.
And it's interesting. I hope that one of the things that we also can engage with too is how do you advocate for yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Because I was having a conversation yesterday with someone that is a young professional who just recently started out, got a first like full-time job post-college, and all of a sudden they've given her so much responsibility because she's new and dependable and gets her work done, but it's also overwhelming. How do you then have that conversation with your boss or your your supervisor to say, wait a second, like I am just like so overwhelmed where, I hope we all get there. We've all probably been overwhelmed in the last year.
Yeah. I think navigating those conversations that, it's your first time having them. I know I've definitely had my fair share. You don't know what's appropriate to discuss and when and how. So, hopefully we can be that resource for people as well.
It's different. That. You'll hear a lot, like, from somebody who's older or, somebody far along in their career, a mentor, almost like your parents, when they give you advice, you almost go, yeah, they just say, oh, just go ask for a raise. Yeah. You almost think like, well, it's just not the same anymore. But if you can sit with a peer who was like, no, recently I set up a meeting with my boss and, this is kind of how I did it and I went through it. You can see exactly how they did it. So it's not antiquated. It fits with your title, and then you can kind of take bits and pieces of other people's success, and add it to your own recipe.
Right. And I think the nice thing about YoPros is, we say young professionals, but that spans from, we're saying 21 to 40 or under 40. So,
and I wouldn't even say, not to cut you off, I wouldn't say it's a hard line stop,
Totally.
Thank you for that.
But I think that that's great because, we're saying everyone, can mentor each other. They can learn from each other. And you have, that's quite the span. Like, at 21, I was still interning. I was still in college, but also definitely a young professional. And I think I could carry myself within this type of organization at the time. And then, think of somebody who is 40 at, my work. I use them as a mentor, as a resource all the time. And I'm always seeking advice and trying to utilize them for different opportunities. So I think that that's a real perk of YoPros is the fact that we kind of do span a good range to give you the opportunity to learn from professionals that have been doing things for a while. Maybe they've switched careers or something. But
I was just going to say, you could see a career switch because you might have a 29-year-old who's been in the same role for 9 years and a 38-year-old who just, because of the pandemic or because of, an industry in decline, is only a year into their new career. So that's what happened to me. I had 8 years in radio and then a pandemic hits and now here I am doing a podcast with the Chamber of Commerce. So it's life comes at you fast. And I think everybody in that kind of young professional organization.
You didn't imagine this?
This is how I drew.
15-year-old Tom?
This is actually how I drew it up. I mean, it's really...
You didn't want a microphone.
11 years old. I said, I'm going to,
You always wanted to be on the radio.
One day.
I was going to say, this feels very natural for Tom. I'm loving this. You're in your zone. Yeah. It seems very natural.
I did. I came from radio. We did a lot of this. A lot of the microphones going. So... it's familiar. It's fun. I'm happy to be back doing it.
But I think that's kind of the nice thing about YoPros too is just putting yourself in a different element. I think for myself, me sitting here, I'm so nervous because this is out of my element. Never did I ever think I'd be sitting here doing a podcast. So I think that YoPros will give you an opportunity, and I think that you might be shy and you don't want to go to an event where you don't know people. But like Tom said, our first mixer, we're giving you an assignment to kind of help meet people, and it gives you a purpose to be there, but we're making it fun, we're making it comfortable, and we want to meet people. We want you there because we want to meet you. So I think that that's kind of a nice component to get out of your comfort zone.
So you both brought up the utilizing mentors and having mentorships. How has that been important for either one of you in your career to find mentors, whether it's within an organization that you work in or outside of an organization? And why do you think that's important?
I always kind of growing up, I always thought like a mentor was like a signed, like an agreement, like I will be your mentor, and okay, I will be the mentee, and it was like a Jedi, like a Jedi and a Padawan.
I kind of did have one of those at one point. Like there was an agreement. Like
I'm really jealous.
So I've never had that, and so I didn't really, I never really realized until kind of you're 4 years in and you realize, oh, this person really kind of is mentoring me. They've, we do just work together, but
there's no formal signed agreement.
But they've taken an extra step to make sure, hey, Tom, make sure that, have you thought about, have you considered? So those have been invaluable to me, and I didn't even really realize they were happening as they were happening. But the things that I learned from, and it's a lot of different people I've worked with, some obviously way more than others, but you internalize those things and they help move you along. So the mentorship, you have to learn from somebody who's been there before. They've made the mistakes, so then you don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
I think I struggled mostly out of college. I think my first couple jobs, I was very, I don't want to say shy, but I think I felt like this is my role. This is I don't engage with other people. That's my boss. I don't need to have personal conversations, and not that you need to get too personal with people at work, but there is that that component of getting to know people and, having those organic conversations that can help stem and, help you grow in your career. But I think probably more recently have I started developing more mentorship or recognizing a mentorship within people at work, or, Stacy's been a great mentor for me, and, realizing that how important those relationships are. I'm definitely getting to a point where I want to see growth, or you stay in a career for so long and you're like, what's my next step? And you start to kind of seek people within your organization who are maybe doing it, and you can kind of learn from them. So, like I said before, networking kind of always felt like something that I didn't know I wanted to be a part of. And I have always been very comfortable or happy in my role. So I didn't know I don't need to move jobs, or I'm not looking to leave my industry. But, you realize that it's so important to make those connections, because you can help grow where you currently are and what you're doing, make yourself better every day.
And I think I can like kind of turn as a flip side of things. You both are in positions now to mentor other people. And I've had the privilege of watching both of you do that. Tom has mentored our intern. Marissa's mentored some of the other staff at the city that is just starting a career. How valuable do you see yourselves then? And not to, toot your own horn, but you guys are
very, very valuable.
You tell me every day how valuable you are. I understand. I don't think you see it. It happens like kind of organically, but you both. I've been privileged to watch both of you do it.
It's the same thing, and you end up just for me, it comes out of necessity. Back to when I was working in radio, I had 20 to 25 18-year-old employees, part-time employees working for me, and just because I want better employees, you end up just mentoring them by default. And, so honestly, just for my own benefit, I'm going to mentor you so you're better, and then that makes me look better. So not to turn it and make it selfish, but I feel like a lot of the times that's where these mentorships kind of come from, is I want to cultivate you to help me better.
So Marissa, have we figured that it's all about Tom?
Yeah,
okay.
Wow.
Just want to make sure that we've got...
That's a good point, right? Like, obviously, and I think that in general, even with, the department I work in, how can we all work as a team to be better? And you want to make sure you can, help provide that. But I think myself, I have an intern, or, when I see people who are younger in their career working in marketing or communications, I remember how scared I was to reach out or to ask questions, or thinking that I need to know it all, or not wanting to seem like I don't know what I was doing. And I can sense that, or you sense that nervousness, and I want to help make people feel more comfortable in their work environment, because I didn't always have that. So I think that's my most important thing when it comes to like younger professionals, is how can I make you feel comfortable and be a source of knowledge, because I didn't have that. I
can see you're struggling.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to just help you, because I remember when I was struggling and I'm Googling like how to be a good employee and it's not working. So
yes, totally. And like I said, I mean, and Tom said it too, I didn't have a mentor. It took me a while. I think that mostly recently, and it's so nice having someone you can run things by and learn from. It's like a breath of fresh air.
So it's funny you say that. Like, I did have I don't want to say like a contractually obligated mentor, but I did have someone that was
like a ceremony where you were paired off.
Kind of. I had somebody that was like tap you on the shoulder, like, hey, you will be Stacy's mentor, and it was like. It wasn't a good fit. We did different things. We worked for the same organization, but we were so different. And I think some of the best ones come from maybe not something that's formal, or like, so I encourage people, like, they're in their careers. This isn't a contractual obligation that's a mentor. And it doesn't have to be somebody it can be a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Like, someone can be with you, when you're going through a personal struggle or a professional struggle, and you might have those people that are around for a lifetime. And I think it's considering that, like, it's not formal, and look at those people within an organization, within your life, that are trying to help you get to that next step. And I think that's when those mentorships and those partnerships are formed, and they're the best.
Definitely.
Well, and that's the same thing that we're trying to do with the Yo Pros, is to make it organic.
Yes.
And for the longest time, I thought, well, I'm not an insurance salesman. Why do I need to go network? Like, because I thought networking is just, I'm just going to go try to drum up clients, or
get your next job.
Which is an element. Yeah, and that's definitely an element of it. But networking is so much bigger than that. You could really almost just call it making friends, really, because once you're connected with people and you've got a rapport, then it's easy to reach out. It's easy to tap that person. It's easy to, hey, I met them at this event. They were good. Let me just shoot them a Facebook message, and you're off.
Had another organization that I worked for, we did not call, if we were trying to make friends, we called them friend raisers.
Oh.
instead of fundraisers.
I don't like that one. That's too like corporate corny for me, but I see it.
It was nonprofit corny.
Yeah, definitely.
It wasn't corporate.
There was no corporate, but it was like the how we,
These are our friend raisers.
I actually this reminded me when you said you were paired with a mentor, but I worked for a company. My first day on the job, I was told to meet at the Starbucks, and I would have an employee meet me there. And so before I even walked into the building, good and bad, right? So before I even had to walk in and take my first steps into the building, someone met me at Starbucks, bought my coffee that day. We chatted for a little bit, and then she walked with me through the doors. And
that's great.
I thought that was probably the best situation you could ever have. I was kind of doing a little bit of a career change. I was going more towards marketing. I was a journalist. So it definitely helped me have a buddy that we kind of met every so often. It was a nice system.
Was it a big organization too?
It was huge, and they would hire people on in bulk, so
it's like going to Costco for
and then
employees.
And then it was like 3 months of training. So you had this person who would like check in with you, and it was nice. But I always kind of think back to that day and how much that meant to me to have somebody just walk with me through a door. And when it comes to YoPros, I mean, anyone message me and say, hey, I'm coming, just so you have that face, make that connection with people, bring a friend, somebody who's working remotely in your company that you're like, I haven't seen them in a while, come together. There's always strength in numbers, and that buddy system works. So I always think back to that. That was probably the closest thing I had to a mentor, and I remember thinking how relieved I was to walk into a new job that day.
I mean, there was a lot of times where I would have a question in my previous work. I'd have a question and would just be absolutely too embarrassed to ask it, because I feel because at this point, if I go ask, are they going to think, why doesn't he know that yet? Is this going to reflect poorly on me? So having a confidant that you can hey.
So I spent a lot of time at Tom's previous employer in their offices, and one of my old employees had to Google how to use the coffee pot one day because the staff person who used the coffee pot wasn't coming in, and we needed to make coffee.
Was it Tom?
No, we needed to make coffee for 60 volunteers.
I was low on the totem pole, but little higher than coffee maker.
So we actually Googled how to
coffee.
use, because I don't know, I don't use an industrial coffee pot every day, so we had to Google how to use a coffee pot because we didn't want people to think we didn't know.
Oh, I fear when people come near me when I'm about to Google something. Do not look at my Google history, because I probably Googled how to spell.
Google?
Yeah, Google.
So, if you had one thing to tell someone, Marissa, you did a good, kind of close it out there, a good reason why someone should join. But both of you, if someone's on the fence about coming to a young professional event, why should they come?
I think it's Marissa, you go ahead.
I have a million reasons. So how much more time do we have?
As much as you need for your million reasons, my dear.
Come meet me. Who needs friends? Just
there
kidding.
We go.
We're chopped liver, Tom. We've just been kicked to the curb.
We're just the chamber.
I love meeting friends.
Chamber.
I think that, in general, I think it's a great opportunity to grow in your career. I think that we're going to make it fun. We're going to have exciting opportunities to learn. I mean, hopefully we can get, a connection with Blake's and have a learning opportunity. But those are the types of events that we're hoping people will come out to. And, mixers, getting yourself connected with people in the community, and just make friends and have fun. I think that it's just another opportunity for people to get involved. I don't know.
See, I'm glad I kicked it to you.
Because I did terrible?
No, that was nice. That's why you're the chair. I think it's low stress. It's too. A lot of the times these networking events and these, we've got our brag groups, which are, I don't want to say high stress, but they are intense. It is a weekly commitment. There are, boxes you have to check. This is not that. You can join our Facebook group and you can come to the winter mixer, or you can come to the spring mixer. You can skip the summer. You can kind of pick and choose the events you want to participate in. You can kind of get out of it what you're going to put into it. So it's not a, binding contract. Oh my God, they're counting on me and I'm busy. It's something that you can come out, you can connect with people, you can, without a lot of pressure on you.
Well, and I think we want to hear from these younger professionals too about what other programming do you want us to do? What are you looking for? Is there topics that, we should be focusing on?
Not to cut you off, but hopefully too, people can join our Facebook group or connect with us. Yep. Obviously social media is a great tool, but, and we can start having those conversations and building our organization from there.
That's really the thing, and I foresee the Facebook group kind of being the center of it, where everybody's kind of coming to there. There's constantly things being posted on there. Hey guys, check this out. I think this is a pretty cool opportunity. Or, I'm running a photography business and I've got some really great specials going on right now as we're cruising into wedding season. Check them out here. A good place where we can kind of promote ourselves, get to know each other, connect, and then the events are just kind of extra beyond that, where we can really strengthen those relationships.
Tom, what's the name of the Facebook group?
Facebook group is the Metro Detroit Young Professionals. We will get a link in the show notes. I hope we have the ability to do that. But
Making promises you don't know.
I think we can do it. I think we can get a link to it in the info.
I rely on Tom for that, so Tom's going to make that happen. So anything else? Any last parting words for our young professionals out there?
I want you to join the Facebook group first. That's obviously
Yes.
I don't know. Have you picked up on that? Join the Facebook
That's
group.
Join the Facebook group.
And then there, let us know what you want to see. Do you need help with tax information? Do you need help with, doing house renovations?
Buying a new car.
Do you need help with, expanding your network? What are you looking for? How can we help? And then, if everything's good, come out and have a beer with us at our next event. We've got plenty of those coming up.
Well, on that note, Tom, Marissa, thank you for joining me today. Thanks for, showcasing this great program the Chamber has to offer. Really unique way to engage with different members of our business community, our young professionals. Unfortunately, I no longer am a young professional, but I will be there anyway. So thanks for joining us today. You guys have a great afternoon, and we'll see you the next time. Thanks for tuning in to the Chamber Connection. Be sure to check out information on the Sterling Heights Regional Chamber of Commerce website, our Facebook page, Instagram, and LinkedIn. We look forward to you connecting with us and tuning in next time.